Professor Abba Brown, and the course is Confronting Oppression and Injustice. I'm going to be reviewing the critical concept of disproportionality. Inevitably, as you begin to look at social justice issues in this course or issues of injustice, disproportionality is going to emerge. So I think it's important that we spend a little time on the definition and also acknowledge what disproportionality means to us and what it leaves out. So the term disproportionality refers to the ratio between the percentage of persons in a particular racial or ethnic group at a particular decision point or experiencing an event compared to the percentage of that same racial or ethnic group in the overall population. So in simple terms, disproportionality refers to the number of people within the segment of the population that experience a particular thing. In our case, oftentimes we are looking at things like health disparities, we are looking at things like poverty, and issues that also would suggest oppression of a group. So this percentage of people impacted by this thing is compared with their overall percentage of population in society. So a way to look at this, if we look at poverty statistics in 2016, based on this particular graphic image, we see that Black population, based on this graphic, is represented the most in terms of poverty, and each other group after that. So this is a representation of the percentage of these particular populations that live in poverty. If we look at poverty statistics by numbers, we see that the Black population does not have the largest number of people living in poverty. In actuality, the largest number of people living in poverty are white people. This is important to recognize because disproportionality refers only to the graph here that is based on percentage. It only refers to the percentage of a particular population as compared to the largeness or smallness of that population within society. So disproportionality is important to recognize because it is critical to understand that if larger percentages of individual populations are being infected by something, those populations are often comprise the marginalized and oppressed that we so often discuss in social work. But it is critical as anti-oppressive practitioners to recognize that the lived experience of far more people may be different than that which disproportionality reflects. So if we're talking about poverty, it's not just important to look at those populations that are disproportionately affected by poverty, but it is important that when we look at poverty, we think about everybody that is affected by poverty so that we are designing interventions that are inclusive not just of those who are more marginalized and oppressed, but of all people engaged in that same lived experience. By looking at things and communicating about disproportionality in this way, we validate the lived experiences of those that are suffering from an oppression and could potentially gain allies in places where we hadn't before.